Hey, this has been on my mind for a while now, and I think it's time to finally let it out. The whole situation with my family, it's been eating at me. I never thought things would turn out like this. Honestly, I'm still in shock. So, sit back, because this is one of those stories you won't believe. Let me start by telling you a little about myself. My name's Emma, and I'm the older sibling. Growing up, I always felt like I was the one who had to carry the weight of the family. My younger sister, Sophia, on the other hand, well, let's just say she's always had it easy. I'm 27 now, working a regular 9 to 5 job, still figuring things out, but I've always been the reliable one. I don't mind it, honestly. I was taught that hard work pays off, even if it's a slow burn. Sophia, though, she's 22, and let's just say she's never been a fan of hard work. If there's one thing Sophia knows how to do, it's how to manipulate situations in her favor. Somehow, she's always managed to get everything handed to her on a silver platter. Whether it's new gadgets, designer clothes, or trips, our parents were always quick to give her what she wanted. Meanwhile, I was left to do the boring stuff, things like taking care of the house, running errands, and doing all the work they didn't feel like dealing with. Our parents, mom and dad, were strict when it came to me. They always told me I had to earn my place, that life wasn't going to be easy. It was their favorite line, honestly. I never really understood why they treated me differently than Sophia. They'd always say they wanted me to be responsible and level-headed, which, fine, I get that. But it was always on their terms. If they needed something done, it was me they'd turn to. If there was a big decision to be made, I had to take the lead. But when it came to Sophia, she was treated like some kind of princess. No matter what she did, it was like she could do no wrong. This dynamic was something I learned to deal with over the years. Sure, I didn't get all the flashy things, but I had something they didn't: independence. I had a job at 16, worked my way through school, and always managed to keep things together. But Sophia? She never lifted a finger. It drove me crazy seeing how they'd bend over backward for her. But things really started to hit the fan around her graduation. It was a big deal for our parents. They made it out to be some kind of grand achievement. Sophia had barely passed her classes. She scraped by. She never put in the effort, but they were so proud of her. And what did I get? Well, you'll find out. The day of the graduation celebration, we had a small gathering. Nothing extravagant, but they sure made it sound like the world was watching. They had a cake with her name on it, balloons everywhere, and all sorts of decorations. It was as if this was the most important day of the year. And for them, I guess it was. I don't want to sound bitter, but it's hard not to when you've been in my position. It was like they were so focused on Sophia that they didn't even consider the things I'd done. I kept things running smoothly around the house. I helped pay bills when Dad's job didn't cover everything. I dealt with the grocery shopping, the laundry, and all the other stuff that comes with keeping a household together. And then came the presents. Sophia had gotten her shiny new car, a present our parents had barely been able to afford. In fact, I later found out they had taken out a loan to cover the cost. I wasn't angry about the car itself, but the fact that they couldn't afford it, yet they still went ahead and bought it for her, well, that part stung. Especially when they barely acknowledged the sacrifices I'd made. Then it was my turn. I tried to push the feelings aside. I didn't want to be that person, the one who complains just because they don't get a shiny gift. But what I got, well, to put it lightly, it was a slap in the face. I sat down on the couch, waiting for my turn, trying to hide the anxiety bubbling up inside me. It was like I already knew what was coming. Mom smiled at me, but it wasn't the warm, loving smile I was used to. It felt different, almost condescending in a way. "Emma," she said, her voice soft, almost too sweet. "We know you're so responsible, and we just wanted to make sure you have what you need for your future. We thought this would be practical." I tried to smile back, trying to mask the frustration building inside me. I didn't want to seem ungrateful, but I was already bracing myself for disappointment. I had to keep it together. She handed me a small box. It felt light, and when I opened it, I wasn't prepared for what I saw inside. The box was a stack of household cleaning supplies, paper towels, sponges, dish soap, and the like. My heart sank. There were no words. No words for me, at least. I stared at the contents for a few seconds, my mind trying to process it. "Mom, Dad, I started, but my voice faltered. What is this? Dad chuckled, slapping his knee. Well, Emma, now you can be even more useful around the house. You've always been so responsible, and this is just another way to show how much you contribute. I blinked, trying to understand. Was this a joke? Sophia, sitting next to me, was grinning ear to ear. She looked at me with a smug, almost mocking expression. Yeah, Emma, now you can keep things nice and clean. You always seem to be the one doing the chores, anyway. My stomach churned. I knew this was going to be bad, but I didn't expect it to sting this much. They were giving my sister a brand new car. And me? Cleaning supplies. I swallowed hard, but my throat felt tight, like I was choking on something I couldn't quite name. I stood up, not wanting to sit there any longer, not wanting to look at the pile of cleaning supplies in front of me. I'm going to head out for a bit, I said, my voice cold. I need some air. Without waiting for a response, I grabbed my jacket, packed a bag, and left the house. I didn't know what I was hoping for, but I didn't want to be there anymore. I could hear my parents calling after me, but I didn't look back. I don't know how long I walked that night, but it felt like hours. I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, not really caring where I was going. It wasn't until I reached a small bench near the park that I finally stopped to sit down. My mind was racing. I should have been furious. And I was. But I was also tired. Tired of always being the responsible one. Tired of being the one to do everything right, only to get ignored or dismissed. I took out my phone, scrolling through a few messages from friends, trying to distract myself from the mess that had just happened. I didn't even want to go back home. But where else could I go? The house was all I had, even though it felt more like a prison than a place of comfort. I finally decided to call a cab to take me to a friend's place, just to get some space. When I got there, I told my friend Mia everything that had happened. Mia listened quietly, but I could see the frustration in her eyes. She knew what I'd been going through with my family. You don't deserve that, Emma, Mia said. You've been busting your ass for years, and they just keep using you. You're not a damn maid. I let out a sigh, feeling the weight of the past few years hit me all over again. I don't know what to do anymore. I've given everything to them, and Sophia, she doesn't appreciate anything. She's spoiled, and it's like they think she can do no wrong. Mia was quiet for a moment, and then she said something I hadn't really thought about. Why don't you leave? For real. Go get a job, start over somewhere else. You don't need them, Emma. You've got this. It hit me like a ton of bricks. She was right. I didn't have to stick around. I didn't have to keep being their backup plan, the one they turned to when they needed help. It was hard to imagine leaving everything behind, but in that moment, it felt like it might be the only way to break free. I spent the night at Mia's, and when I woke up, I knew what I had to do. It wasn't just about the gift anymore. It was about my entire life, about the way my parents treated me compared to Sophia. So I packed a bag, grabbed what I needed, and went to my parents' house to let them know I was leaving. They weren't home at the time, which only made the whole situation feel even more like I was walking away from a chapter one could never go back to. When they got back, it didn't take long for them to realize something was off. I was halfway through the process of packing up my things when I heard their car pull into the driveway. My heart skipped a beat as the front door creaked open. Emma, my mom's voice echoed down the hallway, sounding surprised. Where are you going? I walked into the living room, holding my bag. I'm leaving, Mom. What? Her voice faltered. Where are you going? You can't just leave like this. I kept my tone steady, but I could feel the tension building. I've been carrying this family for too long. It's time for me to go. You and Dad don't need me, not really. You've always had Sophia for everything else. The look on her face was one of disbelief, like she couldn't process what I was saying. Emma, you know we depend on you. You've been so helpful, and now this is the thanks we get. I didn't let her guilt trip me this time. I've been helpful because you've never given me a choice. You've always expected me to clean up after everyone. Sophia does whatever she wants, and you keep giving her everything. Well, I'm done. Dad stepped into the room, looking almost confused. What do you mean you're done? You're going to leave the family after everything we've done for you? You've done nothing for me, Dad. I replied, keeping my voice calm. Sophia gets a car and I get cleaning supplies. That's how much I mean to you. Mom's face twisted in something close to panic. You don't understand. We've been making sacrifices for your future. You're not seeing the bigger picture. I shook my head.
No, Mom.
I'm done seeing the bigger picture. You've never seen me. You've only seen what you can use me for. But I'm not doing this anymore. I turned to leave, but Sophia stepped into the doorway, a smug expression plastered on her face. Wow, Emma, leaving already? Guess you can't handle the family spotlight, huh? I mean, I just got a brand new car for graduation. What do you have? A bag of cleaning supplies? She laughed, and I could feel my blood boiling. Shut up, Sophia, I said through gritted teeth. You don't have a clue. Mom shot her a glare, but then turned back to me, her voice a bit more frantic. Where are you even going to go? You can't just leave us like this. I didn't answer her immediately. I simply walked out the door, leaving everything behind. It wasn't until I was in the cab, heading to a small apartment I'd rented that same morning, that I felt the weight of what I'd just done. For the first time in years, I felt free.